While many of us love the idea of two best friends competing with each other, taking on his best buddy wasn't something Kyrgios was looking forward to. To top it off, it wasn't just the idea of playing against his best friend that put him off, but also the fact that he couldn't wait to get back home. In fact, Nick said that he wanted the US Open to be over so quickly so he could return to Australia. Let's find out more. Starting with his statement, Wimbledon finalist Nick Kyrgios is focused on more than his match against compatriot Thanasi Kokkinakis at the US Open. The Australian has been quite candid about his desire to see his sick parents and newborn nephew back in Australia. Kyrgios has said that the outcome of his opening round match against Kokkinakis doesn't matter since he would consider the match a victory regardless of the outcome. He told reporters, "Whether I win or lose, it will be the same for me. If I lose, I can go home. If I win, it's more money and another great result." It doesn't come off as a shock to us since he did withdraw from the Laver Cup. Now, a lot of it is going home for him, and if you've been following up on the news, his mother is sick and his brother just had a kid. To put it simply, it must hurt for him to be apart from his loved ones for so long. The Aussie claimed it's becoming heavier on him with every day that he spends on the road. He also added that he really wishes he could go right now, but this is too big of an event for him to miss. Moving on, why is the separation hurting him so much? No matter how much sass he shows to the audience and the umpires on the court, there's no denying that Nick is a softie at heart. There's a lot going on in his family, which is why the lengthy tour is hurting him so much. Following his success at Wimbledon and in the United States, Kyrgios has been away from his family for a considerable amount of time. His mom's health became even worse during this time, which is obviously a sensitive subject for him. Before the Wimbledon final, Kyrgios told the Sydney Morning Herald that her kidneys were reaching the end of their life. He said that she planned to have her spouse donate a kidney to her and expressed her desire for a successful transplant. When Kyrgios beat Daniil Medvedev so decisively in the Canadian Open, he texted his mom to tell her the news. "Be brave, Ma," he scribbled on the camera lens at the side of the field. And up next, he just wants the tournament to be over. The Wimbledon runner-up is among the favorites to win the US Open after winning 16 of his 19 last single matches. But Kyrgios just wants the competition to be over as quickly as possible. He went on to say that a big part of him is eager for the US Open to end so he can go back to normal life. He's been separated from the comfort of his bed and his family for an extended period of time, and the stress of dealing with this disruption to his routine has been painful. The scrutiny of the public eye, the passionate support of his supporters, the rigorous scheduled practices and games, and the intense strain that he must endure all contribute significantly to his health. And he said that it's tough, it's quite challenging, and he's understandably exhausted as a result. He didn't even have time to take in Wimbledon before it was over. He went on to say that no other nationality of tennis player could possibly comprehend the feeling of the type of homesickness experienced by Australians. Plus, how did the match pan out? When the US Open draw was published, one of the matchups that stood out was a showdown between Nick Kyrgios and close buddy Thanasi Kokkinakis. Kyrgios saved the blockbuster showdown from becoming an epic fight because obviously he didn't want to bring his BFF down. The 23rd seed advanced to the second round at Flushing Meadows after beating Kokkinakis in straight sets at a score of 6-3, 6-4, 7-6. He will face off against Benjamin Bonzi of France and advance to the next round. Looks like his US Open journey isn't ending anytime soon. Kyrgios has demonstrated the finest form of his career recently, reaching the Wimbledon final, capturing the Washington Championship, and upsetting the world number one, Daniil Medvedev, in Montreal. He kept the form with Arthur Ashe Stadium on Monday, even following Serena Williams' match, scoring his 200th tour-level victory after 2 hours and 1 minute. Moving on, this is exactly why he dropped out of the Laver Cup too. Since the first Laver Cup in 2017, Kyrgios has consistently been one of the top players to watch for Team World, but the former world number 13 had recently announced that he wouldn't be competing this year in order to spend more time with his loved ones. "No Laver Cup for me this year," wrote Kyrgios on social media, "just letting you all know. Gotta have the home time with my family and my beautiful girlfriend." Also, he really needs the time off. Nick has been quite open about his mental health issues, so he deserves some time off to focus on himself. The player has disclosed struggles with mental health that have contributed to substance abuse and suicidal thoughts. He spoke about his dark times during a wide-ranging interview with the Wide World of Sports. He claims it was very important to point that he engaged himself in self-injurious behavior, and it didn't help that he was abusing alcohol and drugs to toxic levels. He continued, admitting his weakness, that he had blocked out reality to face his problems head on. Like many of us in pain, he cut himself off from those who cared about him. As Kyrgios said, he was trying too hard to live up to other people's idealized versions of him. The Aussie continued by saying that he was burdened by a sense of never living up to fans' high expectations. And the fact is, he said that there was a time when he felt worthless, was uncomfortable, and despised his existence. In his moment of weakness, he found certain parts of the darkness intriguing, such as getting others to comply with his commands. It was in his nature to try to lighten the mood by saying something like, "If it doesn't kill you, it just makes you weirder and stronger." With those struggles and his mom's health, no one deserves a break more than he does. Now in other news. First off, Serena Williams has just begun. At Arthur Ashe Stadium on Wednesday night, Serena Williams defeated Estonian's number 2 player Anett Kontaveit and 7-6, 2-6, 6-2 in the second round of the US Open. With that, the second round of the competition is over and she's progressed to the next round. To continue the match, Williams will play Ajla Tomljanovic of Australia. We know we'll be rooting for her, the queen. What about you? Tomljanovic, competing against the Russian Evgenia Rodina at the same time as Williams on Wednesday, won in straight sets, 1-6, 6-2, and 7-5. Keeping the set scores in mind, it'll definitely be a tough match for Serena when the two play against each other. It's unclear when the matches will begin as we don't have the schedule yet, but third round will kick off on Friday. Also, that's not all. Williams will also be joining up with her sister Venus to compete in women's doubles at the US Open in addition to singles. Also, an inappropriate celebration had the internet talking. Sarah Belyek, a tennis player from the Czech Republic, won her last Grand Slam qualifying match of the year on Friday against Heather Watson of Great Britain. This put her in the US Open, where she was ousted in the first round by Ludmila Samsonova of Russia. Everything appeared normal after Belyek beat Watson and shook hands with her opponent, the chair judge, and then her father and coach. However, after a hug with her father, Yaroslav Belak placed the palm of his hands clearly on his daughter's butt and then changed hands and repeatedly gave her a series of affectionate spanks. The internet was outraged at this, and people had all sorts of things to say. One user said, "There's absolutely no reason to touch a 16-year-old girl on her butt like that," while another called it beyond inappropriate. Finally, many disappointed by Djokovic's absence. Daniil Medvedev was hoping to see Novak Djokovic at this year's US Open because he thought the Serb would have been one of the tournament's top contenders. Djokovic, a 21-time Grand Slam winner, withdrew from the US Open after being refused entrance to the United States owing to his unvaccinated status. Novak was also banned from competing in the 2022 Australian Open, preventing him from completing the Grand Slam double. This year, Djokovic competed in 2 Grand Slams and advanced to the last round at Wimbledon. Taylor Fritz said that if the Serb had been eligible to play in the US Open, he would have been the clear favorite. And that's a wrap for this video. What did you think about Nick's performance so far? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.